Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. Great Girlfriends, I am joined today by an extraordinary woman who I met almost a year ago, so we have an anniversary coming up. Miss Beth Battaglino. Hi, Beth. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I am doing so good now that we've gotten on the phone. So Beth weathered through what I consider a disaster of last week, where my power was down and electricity was kind of spotty. And what I realized was that I actually did her a favor as well, and that we both had to reschedule because life was lifing, right, Beth?
Oh my goodness. And as women, and especially during this COVID pandemic, we know that we need to change on a dime.
Yes, we have to change on a dime. So, great girlfriends, if you've been with us this year, you have listened to some extraordinary conversations from practitioners in the healthcare industry that were brought to us by Healthy Women. And Healthy Women has been an incredible partner in really, really helping us to bring awareness and attention to some of the things that are affecting us on a regular basis. We've talked about breast health and women's health. We've talked about migraines. We've talked about high cholesterol and cholesterol in general. And I have taken copious notes on every single episode as I learned so much along the way from our partners. So I want to thank you, Beth, because Beth is the CEO, of Healthy Women. And she's also a mom, and she's also a registered nurse, and she's also an executive, and she does a host of other things. So first, I want to thank you, Beth. And then secondly, I want my great girlfriends to know what I've learned about what makes you so spectacular. But what do you think makes you spectacular?
First of all, I don't know how spectacular I am, but
I would say
I
pretty
think
spectacular.
no, thank you, thank you for saying that, because you just made my day. Because I think if you ask my family right now, they would say I'm not spectacular. What I think, when I think about, so I'm going to bring this to women's health and what we created at Healthy Women, because I think that's what is so spectacular. And I think being able to create a website, a digital platform, it's more than a website, it's a digital platform that provides credible, trustworthy information that women, no matter what your socioeconomic background is, has access to. I think that is what I'm most proud of, and I feel is so spectacular. And the fact that we did it before anyone else created it is what makes it so, it just makes it so special and is truly my passion. Because if you ask me right out of college, when I first started with Healthy Women, what was women's
Wow.
health and would I ever go into women's health? I would look at you like you were crazy. First of all, the only thing about women's health that I knew was going to your annual OBGYN appointment, right? And getting
Right.
contraception.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
that was women's health to me. It was babies, contraception, and your annual pap test that, most of us went and did on an annual basis.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, I realized there was more to women's health. And at that time, it was right out of college. So it was 1991. And that's when women's health was changing so quickly. There was, women at that time were not just started being included in clinical trials. Before that, clinical trials were just done on men. And then you saw, if your audience remembers, like breast cancer, like people weren't even talking about cancer. You weren't allowed to talk openly about it. But Susan Komen Foundation and luncheons and awareness started coming into play, and women's health really took on a whole new meaning. And that's what, I just think about the timeline, and that's what I think, when you say spectacular, I think it is spectacular to see the advancements we've made in women's health and women's health research. So that I'm very proud of, and the role that we've played in it.
I love that. And kudos to you. It's been really, really special to have Healthy Women as a destination. And like you said, a trusted source for information. And, in our pre-call before the show, I was commending you on a team of extraordinary women who actually care about the work that they're doing and have a compelling why. And even as you're talking, I hear you saying you had a great justification, a why in your head of why this was important, why it's essential for women, why these conversations are important, why this information needs to be out there and visible. And that kind of helps us show up every day. And so, in terms of the show up, the visibility, Healthy Women is transforming millions of women through the website and the information that you put out every single month and every single day, and the conversations that we're able to have even on the podcast, and all the different events that we will return to one day, hopefully. But,
Exactly.
but what is your personal mission, Beth? What is your mission as a CEO?
My personal mission is to make sure that we continue the advancement in women's health. That is my personal mission as the CEO of Healthy Women, and with a focus on women's health. I want to make sure that women have access to the information that they need, that they have access to the treatments that they need, and they have access to as part of decision makers. That's what I want to continue, because that's not going to stop, and there is so much more that we need to do. But I just want to make sure that Healthy Women is here in another 30 to 60 years, that
Mm,
we continue to grow, and we continue to meet her needs in the way that she wants to learn and receive health and wellness information. And I would love to look at how we can change. This is kind of the bigger goal, but I look at healthcare, and we're
mhm,
all about it's not preventative, like, and that's just what makes it so. The part of the kind of the uphill battle is looking at, we wait until people have are diagnosed and have diseases, instead of taking more of a preventative look at health. And so we don't
mhm,
really have a health system in
mhm,
place. I
mhm,
feel like we
mhm,
we it's the complete opposite of that. And so I'm looking forward to Healthy Women playing a bigger and stronger role in more preventative and aging well. It's all about aging well. We should not be looking at
mhm,
when we turn 65 and say, oh, I should have done that, or that could have been prevented, and I wish I knew about that, and now I'm on
mhm,
all these medications because I've been diagnosed. It's how
mhm,
can we provide that information to younger women, and for Healthy Women, that's women beginning at age 35, and start giving her the tools, the information, and the resources so that she can age well, and she can start teaching that to her daughters, so it becomes
mhm.
that's the new norm. So that's what's that is what's making me smile right now, because I love the work that we've done, but there's so much more that we can do, and we will do it.
Absolutely. I love that. And I think Great Girlfriends is so important. We talk about this all the time, that you have to have in your head and in your mind, when you show up for your job and in your career, or your business, you have to have a why. It's very important that you have a reason that motivates you, that wakes you up, that keeps you encouraged, that allows you to push through the challenges that you face as an executive, all those things, because the challenges do come and the work is not
Yeah.
always easy, but it's always worth it when you have a great why. So, what are some of the challenges that you see as a CEO in media, and really trying to push and advocate for women's health to be a priority?
I think right now, so I'm looking at it not as it's more as an opportunity, right? So I look at
Mm-hmm.
the challenges more as an opportunity,
Hmm.
right? So there is an opportunity, and what we're seeing now is, with the advancements in women's health, people can share her story, and your program does a great job of that, right? You interview some amazing people that are able to share their story and how and why. And with us, it's that voice of the woman that has been diagnosed but living well with breast cancer, or it's that person that has been struggling for years, trying to have a baby, and because of fibroids or endometriosis, she finally has the proper diagnosis and has pulled together the healthcare team that can help her achieve that goal. Or it's
Hmm.
the advanced maternal age woman that has put off having babies because she's been so focused on her career and making sure that she is able to provide for that child. Now, in the newest age group for new moms are women that are advanced maternal age, so it's 35
Mhm.
and over. That's the biggest jump, but giving her the opportunity to understand what may be different with her pregnancy, what she needs to know, and making sure she has the community around her to be successful and to support her. So it's just
Mhm.
we're looking at it in a new way, but it's an exciting way, and it's being able to share the successes of women today so that others can learn from them, and providing the resources and the information so everyone is sharing and becoming, knowledgeable, educated, and has the tools and the questions that they can ask to get more information, or that referral if they're not comfortable, and the permission to seek additional help or care if they need it. So it's
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
non-judgment and that support circle that I feel Healthy Women has done well with and will continue to move forward.
I think that was where we found our sweet spot in conversation, was realizing that without that strong support circle, without your great
Oh,
girlfriend and there to advocate and support and rally you forward, it makes the journey harder. And so that's been one of my favorite parts about us coming together, is being able to encourage women to rally as a unit around healthcare, have these conversations, make them so disarming, and make them more comfortable for us to have at a higher frequency, and really get honest with one another about what's
right.
happening in our bodies.
In our bodies and our head. So when we, and that's a good point, because it's head to toe, right? When we
Yeah.
look at Healthy Women and what made us so different from other sites, even in the 90s when we launched, was that we addressed all women's health issues. So it's from head
Mhm.
to toe, so that
Mhm.
mental health, the physical health, is so important. But also looking at, as you're talking, I'm just thinking even financial health. And as you look, our sweet spot is women 35 to 64, and there's so much that happens during that age and stage of
Mhm.
women's health, whether you're diagnosed with a chronic condition or your significant other or partner is diagnosed. You may
Mhm.
have be caring for aging relatives or a special needs baby. You may be
Mhm.
going through a divorce, and financial health is what you need information on, and that's something that is affecting your overall health, and stress and anxiety. I mean, this time during COVID-19, we're all, normally women, the one thing that we realized in some of the market research that we've done, in surveying our own audience, is that women have normalized our stress. Like if we didn't have
Yes.
stress, right? Like, and I think you and
Yes.
I, like even our
Oh,
pre-call, we're just like, oh my gosh,
yep.
like even to
Yep.
get us to today's conversation.
Mhm.
But we've normalized, and if you don't say that you're not stressed, then you're not normal. But just think
Right.
about where we were and where we are now. So I feel like I am just on the edge right now with the amount of stress, from the challenges of running a company right now during COVID,
Mhm.
making sure that I'm taking care of my team, but I'm also a healthcare professional. So I'm in the
Mhm.
hospital,
Mm.
and we're gearing up, and we're seeing more cases of COVID come in right now, and then you have to worry about your own family too at the same time.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot, and we're all in it together. But it's also, again, making sure that we're sharing the success stories and what we know and
Mhm.
tools and resources, so that everyone has, if they want to learn and figure out how to navigate it, that it's here for them and it's free and they can trust
Yeah.
it.
So powerful. And you said a big, huge key instrumental word for this year, which is free,
Free.
which
Right.
makes it
Right.
accessible,
That's
because
right.
many people without resource or trying to figure out, how to manage their resources differently. And so having a complementary resource that does not make you feel, like you're getting, low quality healthcare advice, you're actually getting premium advice from sound, successful practitioners, is just, that's, for me, has been just such a gift. It's been rewarding to see that, be available. So I want to thank you all for that, because that free part has been the one of the biggest gifts. It really has been.
No,
But
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. And I think the other thing that's we've done well with is the website allows women to look for information that they may have been embarrassed to talk about. So they
mm,
can search, but now they're finding voices, other women that
uh,
we're destigmatizing some of the maybe the health categories, the topics, the diagnosis that some women did not want to admit that they
mhm,
had or
mhm,
were diagnosed with. And so I think giving, destigmatizing and giving them others that are living with has also been a huge win for us and something that will
Mm.
continue, moving forward. So I think that's the power of the digital platform, along with that credible, medically vetted, evidence-based information is going back to your why we're spectacular.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going to go back to that because I like
Yeah.
that word right today,
Yeah.
spectacular. But I think that's what I'm, again, so proud of, what we've done and the great job that my team has done in moving this forward for 30 years. We've been in business
Mm.
for over 30 years. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow,
I'm
wow, wow. So for 30 years, so you've got to have a really great personal success or balance or harmony toolkit. And I say that because everyone, I don't necessarily believe that we ever have balance in terms of all the
yeah.
things of life, but I do think we make it through and we have harmony and you have peace at the end of some days, many days. Um, so I want to know from your perspective or what's in your toolkit, what keeps you going, what gives you that energy, that zest. You are on the front line, you're seeing so much, and there's grief that even comes along with that. So,
Yeah.
how do you manage emotionally? I'd love to hear some of those tools.
No, and I'm happy to share. So I think about it, and I think so for me, exercise is a big part of my daily. So I need to run, and I need to work out for me, and it just makes me. I always like I run with a group of moms, and we say it makes us a
Mhm.
better mom, and it's also a therapy group. Like we were like, look
Oh,
at how
that's
much
so
money we're
good.
saving on therapy because we start
Yes.
off with problems and we each get a chance to share, something if we want to, and then by the end of the run, we've all been able to weigh in and kind of answer, and we're all feeling better. So I feel like for anyone, whether it's just to get out and carve out some me time, even if it's a 15 or 20-minute walk, it's so important just for your mental and physical wellness.
Mhm.
The other part is my faith. I just that's an important part of who I am, and
Mhm.
it's just helped me through challenging times. And then I just my friends. I have and when I smile thinking about the name of your program because I love it. And I have 8 amazing girlfriends. We've been together since since we were in since we were in preschool,
Oh my
and
gosh.
others since grammar school, and we are still together. And they truly are, like, we just say thank God for all of us because it's just what makes us go through. And then I've got an amazing family. I'm one of 6 kids, and I've got 5 amazing brothers and sisters, and my mom is still living, and it's just they are all part of it. And I have a little 8-year-old who just makes me smile every day. So it's just understanding, yes, there are challenges, but there's and taking one day at a time is so important.
Mhm.
Before I used to be a big planner, and you'd have your calendar out and plan
Yeah.
months ahead, and now it's you take a deep breath and you're like, if I can get through today,
Yes.
that's okay. So it's one day at a time, and you realize that it's okay. Like it's okay
Yeah.
if your child photo bombs your Zoom call, or
Absolutely.
it's right, like this is like it's almost given us a permission. So when I start off my team meetings, I'm like, what has been COVID positive for you? What has been positive
Yeah.
during this COVID time? And it's just amazing to hear, people just start smiling and start sharing some of the things that have been positive during this
Mhm.
pandemic, that I think will be. And as much as I hate this new norm, I'm going to use the word new norm because I think it will be a new norm. But I think there's things that we're going to be that we all should be very grateful for because it's reconnected us in ways that I think we were disconnected and before the pandemic. So I those are a few of my tools, and just being thankful, like just being able to say thankful, saying thank you, and I'm appreciative. Like I feel that's more part of my being right now than it was probably before the pandemic, like because I was
Mhm.
always on to the next thing.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
those are the I would say those are the key essentials right now in my little toolbox.
I wanted to know a little bit about your work environment and how you create an environment that allows you to thrive.
Wow, great question. So when I restarted Healthy Women, there was three of us, and we started working from our homes, and that's before it was in vogue,
Mm.
right?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
we were remotely working, and there were only three of us, and it worked well. And then we continued to evolve, and I had to relocate to New Jersey to open our corporate headquarters, and I started an office and realized quickly that that didn't work for Healthy Women.
Mm.
I was onto something before it became vogue,
Yeah.
that I was able to hire women, and many of the women that I was hiring were moms that just had babies, right? And they were super
Mhm.
smart, but were did not want to commute into the city anymore. They just
Mhm.
wanted that flexibility to be at home. They loved to work, but just needed some of that flexibility that wasn't really in place other than maybe one day a week,
Mhm.
if you were lucky, if you were
Mhm.
able to get that. And so I had to go up against a lot, including my board of directors, to pull this off, to kind of create a template of how I was going to create a virtual work environment, and meet the numbers that I was held accountable for. And so I
Mm.
did it.
Mhm.
And it wasn't. I'm not going to say it was easy, because it wasn't. There's some people that can work at home, and some people that can't. But that's something that you learn as you move it forward.
Mhm.
And so what I've done, since 19 really trying to think 1998, is kind of created a blueprint of how to set up a company, a smaller or company, that allows people that allows you to hire more senior people, and that allows them the flexibility and the opportunity to work from home. And some people thought I was absolutely nuts, and other
Wow.
people asked me for my the how to.
Uh-huh.
And what I realized, and other organizations did too, especially not for profits, is that it was so much more cost effective, to not have to maintain the rent of an office building, and all the computers and the desks and everything that goes with it, that it was actually a strong business model for a not for profit. And the key
Mhm.
would be is just finding the right people that were able to work from home. And now, like, fast forward, who knew? Like, now everyone's seeing that. And I think, again, you're seeing companies that probably would have never allowed, this amount of work from home prior to
Mhm.
the pandemic, and you'll see those companies now, probably allowing moving forward, because I don't see us going back. I don't see the whole world going back to the
Oh.
9 to 5, office jobs anymore. And I think
Mhm.
we're going to see more opportunities to work from home, and people are happier and more productive, and I think that's a good thing.
I mean, it's a great thing. I've seen the value in it. I work from home and have done so for many years, over 7 years now.
Wow.
Um, and I love it because it's given me the ability to see my kids grow up. And that's what I was missing out on when I was going into the city
Right.
every day. Like,
Right.
my kids are growing up and I can't even like see it because I'm home after 8 o'clock and they're in the bed and they were toddlers. And so, having the ability to pick them up from school and just have different value, different things that matter to me, being able to honor those things, it has only been because I've been a part of the work from home tribe. So I actually felt like my office got violated during COVID because everyone was home. And I'm like,
I know.
this feels a bit intrusive. It's just everyone's doing this thing now. I mean, that's how I felt. I was like, it
Uh,
feels like,
ex-
yeah.
it's so funny, and that's what everyone's like, "How is it?" I'm like, "I don't know right now, because I feel like my days are endless, and I like
Yes.
I don't even know what day it is." And then when you just asked me what book did you read last, I'm like, "I don't know, because I used to read on the train, like
Yep.
just different
Yep.
things where you could carve out,
Yep.
an hour or whatever after you've done all your work."
Yep.
So I do. I feel it's been very interesting, and as much as you say, when the door is closed, you cannot come in because mom's on a call.
Yeah.
Guess who comes, walks
Of
into your
course
office,
not, right?
it's
Yep.
it's hilarious. It's
They're like, "Is
hilarious.
this the time to do it?" So, it's been a lot of fun and it's been different, but most importantly, I think what we've all learned, Beth, is that, a lot of us thought our companies really had the secret sauce, and what we've all learned is that we carry the secret sauce, right? That no
Yeah.
one really knows what they're doing, except that we all show up and we're responsible for the work that we're assigned and the roles that we believe in, etc. And it's just this year has proved a lot of what we do love and what we don't love and what we need to pivot in, and what makes us happy, what makes us well-rounded. So what are some of the things that you've learned this year, as a CEO, that you'd like to continue or do different for next year?
So, a couple things that I've learned is that change is good, right?
Hmm.
And that, and I think that's been part of, I think, kind of my secret sauce all along is that I embrace change. And this year it was bigger and probably stronger than ever. The need to embrace change. And it was just change from everything, because with us, it's understanding when you may need to reorganize, right? Like, looking at your growth pattern as a business, and knowing the importance of change when you need to change your business model and acting on that very quickly. I think that's important. Um, Pulling through what you do best. And because we were a digital platform, it didn't take us as long as some other companies in regards to coming up with plan B. And
Hmm.
what I mean by plan B is we did a lot of in-person events, and that's what a lot of our programs were. Like, we would host programs in New York and Washington DC, on Capitol Hill,
Hmm.
and all of those became virtual events and webinars, and making sure that we were all inclusive, meaning we have a great array of healthcare providers. We have a great array of policy people, and researchers and scientists, and pulling together impactful programs, but making sure that they're diverse, and that we have people from different backgrounds and specialties that can present on the different communities that they're reaching and touching and want change for. So I think understanding what you have and being able to change and improve on a platform that is going to allow you to reach as many people as you can and impactfully as you can is what has made us successful this year. And moving forward into 2021, it will be looking at policy, because policy is going to play a big role in health, especially in women's health. We're going to be looking at research, because research, even as we look at the COVID pandemic and the vaccine that's becoming available,
Hmm.
making sure that it's accessible and people understand when it's going to be their turn, and making sure that healthcare providers and the public and the consumers are on the same on the same wavelength when it comes to healthcare. And again, I'm going to bring up my biggest concern is that we don't have a health system in place, and how can we start changing that, and making sure that the healthcare is really about prevention and not diagnosis, and
Mm.
focused on kind of the disease part of it. And so I'm looking forward to 2021. I'm looking forward to working with so many of our partners, including you, and I'm looking forward to continuing driving women's health forward, improving access, safety, and accessibility, all of the trifecta of healthy women.
For all of those who may want to reach out to you after this episode to just learn more about you or say thanks for being on, where can they reach you?
You can reach me at ABBCRN, my Twitter account, or Beth at healthywomen.org. I love hearing from people, and if we're doing a good job, let us know. And if we could do something better, always happy to take that challenge on, and welcome honest feedback.
Oh, that's so good. So good. Beth, it's been so great speaking with you today and catching
Thank
up and
you.
hearing your voice and
And
all the
same
great
here
things.
to you, my friend. Thank you so much for your
Yes.
friendship and your support. And we look forward to working with you and your great Girlfriends podcast in 2021.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Great girlfriends, did you enjoy this week's episode of the podcast? If so, would you please give us your amazing review on iTunes? Every single review helps another great girlfriend get plugged into the podcast, into the community. Speaking of community, make sure you join our Facebook group, The Great Girlfriends. You follow us on Instagram at The Great Girlfriends and on Twitter at @the_great_GFS. Last but not least, we'd like to thank my amazing husband, Kwaku, Sam and Dilly, and all of you for being a part of the global community that makes us so strong. Please remember to share with your friends. Keep listening and keep being a great girlfriend. I'm Sybil Amuti, and I'm out. Peace.